in the Department of Chemistry, I think you can address this issue very well, which is that because this university is also quite strong in basic research. Impact ranking demonstrates the level, the capacity of these universities in terms of social engagement, social service. But at the same time, we also quite, strong in the area of basic research. I mean, your department, for example, has performed very well in terms of your high-level, internationally recognized research. Is there a tension between, from your point of view, is there a tension between basic research that you are involved in extensively and the kind of social engagement-based type of work of university?
That's an interesting question, because it is something that's often said that, that as it were, socially relevant research can't be high quality. I would reject that absolutely. That is not true. The two complement each other, because the reality is that the research that I'm doing, for example, yes, it produces very high quality outputs, but it also produces high quality graduates who are able to think independently, who are able to be creative, who are problem solvers, and who have high-end skills which the Thailand of today and tomorrow is going to need if we're going to develop as a nation. And so, my research feeds into, as it were, the social aspect, but perhaps in a slightly, indirect way that you wouldn't, consider, all the time. And I think we need to get away from that idea that these two, are in conflict with each other, and recognize the fact that both, are of value to the university. And indeed, you can still have high quality research that has a strong social focus. It's just exactly where that is. And as you say, in the basic sciences, in fact, we host things like the National Olympiads have been hosted here. So this gives, Thai students who are really good in science their first start. If they're really, really excellent, they get to go abroad and compete with people from around the world. We see from the Olympiad families that many of these people create lifelong friendships that, turn out to be important, for the countries going forward, as these people perhaps become important people within their respective countries, but they still maintain those ties from those younger days. The science faculty also does a huge amount of social outreach in terms of teaching, kids in high school STEM skills, trying to get them interested in science, because it is difficult, Nobody's saying it's an easy ride and stuff like that. And so we're doing both aspects. And I think that's what every good university should be seeking to do, should be seeking to marry their high-end research with, social impact.
And I agree, because, producing high-quality graduates is already a great public service. And in fact, in relation to this impact ranking, like in the UK, University of Manchester, they are one of the top universities in terms of their strength in basic research, but they score very well on the impact ranking as well. So you are absolutely right about, two things go together, actually. And probably that's demonstrate a greater value of such a highly recognized academic institutions.
And that's really true as well, because when the institution is very well recognized for its research, it often means that, that government think tanks and so on listen to these people and take on board their advice for, key decisions that the government might be making in certain areas. And so the research aspect is absolutely inseparable from, the social aspect. And we need to keep that in mind when we think about how well a university does. In that regard, the fact that Walailak is, comparatively speaking, a small university, and the impact rankings is absolutely measuring how good we are in research, and we score at the same level, as Princess Songkhla University, Thammasat University, some of the much older, more established universities. I think it shows the great strides that the university has made in a comparatively short period of time.
Right. Are there anything else that you would like to add to the issue of impact ranking? Are there anything else?
I think one of the things to remember is that actually, yes, it's been a good year, for Walailak University, that we've got ranked for the first time. But it's actually been a good year for the whole country. For the first time in the history of these rankings, Thailand has 2 universities that are ranked in the top 100. Chulalongkorn University is ranked 23rd in the whole world. And the competition is fierce, for these rankings. So to do that well is a remarkable achievement by the whole Thai academic system. And it shows that, the universities are really doing a huge amount of work that perhaps was unrecognized before, because that's what the impact rankings really does. The impact rankings allows universities to be who they are, and it allows us to demonstrate that beyond simple measurements like, how many people have you graduated this year, what fields have they graduated in, you can draw a broader line around what is the overall impact of your university and what is your university doing to make the world a better place. Because ultimately, that's what the SDGs are all about. It's asking the question, how can we develop the world in a sustainable way? We already know through the climate crisis that there are significant problems with our current way that we tend to develop nations, and this needs to change. And universities, with the knowledge that they create, are going to be at the forefront of trying to change the way we develop and improving, sort of government systems around the world. And that will hopefully be for the betterment of all mankind.